Hello and welcome to our presentation on our proposal to increase census awareness and understanding by using social media and an upgraded website, and why we believe the Be Counted Michigan 2020 campaign should adapt our strategy in hard-to-reach areas. My name is Justin, and I am also attending Wayne State University, and I will be a senior in the coming weeks when the next fall semester starts. I am a mechanical engineering major, and I have minors in physics and political science. And I'm qualified to help the Be Counted campaign, and my word should be trusted because I have personally ran a state house campaign, so I know what it's like to reach out to people, and I know what it's like to convince citizens to go out and vote, to go out and participate, and that is highly applicable to the census. On top of this, I have headed student political organizations on Wayne State campus, and so I understand how organizations like this can take advantage of the tools available to them to increase awareness as much as possible with the resources they have. To understand how our solution is the best option for the Be Counted campaign, we have to first understand the context of where we are right now in terms of the Be Counted campaign and the resources they have and the struggles that they have currently. And the Be Counted campaign has a set of goals, and the main ones are to increase census awareness so that people can know where to go to fill it out and understand what it does to help their society, the area around them. And the other goal is to increase self-reporting numbers, which is just make sure people fill out the census as well as be aware of it. And also, a more focused goal that the Be Counted campaign has is their goal to reach hard-to-count areas that have in the past not counted themselves in the census as well as they could have. And this is a very challenging goal considering how hard it is to reach these areas that don't fill out the census as much. The structure of the Be Counted campaign includes 13 regional teams, and each of these teams has selected 100 total nonprofits that work in their local communities, and these nonprofits were given grants to work in these areas and to increase census count. And it's an incredible structure system because these groups get to work within their own communities. They know it best, and they know how to hit the hardest in terms of getting the most access to the census. And the Be Counted campaign has found success with this strategy, as Michigan was the first state to reach our 2010 numbers, and a higher state in terms of who's responded to the census so far this year. Next up, Hussein El Rida is going to be talking about our research methods and how we came up with our supporting information for our strategy. What weaknesses does the Be Counted campaign have that we're trying to focus on repairing? Well, first, we've had good results through the Be Counted campaign considering COVID-19. As Hussein Saleh talked about, the strategy had to change tremendously. And at this point, they're struggling to have the ability to reach into hard-to-count areas, which is one of the main goals of the campaign. And internet access isn't reliable, and in-person events are not allowed. And so the campaign is in a bit of in between a rock and a hard place. And so most of their plans were canceled, and really the campaign has been playing catch-up in these areas ever since COVID hit. Now, what is a hard-to-reach community? These areas have very specific qualities about them that make them hard to reach. And one of them is a lack of internet, which tends to go along with the higher levels of poverty. And these higher levels of poverty are not very well correlated with civic involvement and voting and filling out the census. And so these people need to be educated on how they can fill out the census and how it helps them in their community. And these areas tend to have low response rates as well, which is why it's one of the top goals of the Be Counted campaign. And we want to focus in Southwest Detroit. We believe it's a good starting point in terms of rolling out a new idea using social media on the website to hit these hard-to-reach communities and get them to fill out the census. And on top of that, they're local to our team, and so we feel obligated to try and help these communities. And it really is a perfect example of a hard-to-reach community, and I will explain that in a moment. Here is a picture of Detroit, and the colors represent how these areas have filled out the census so far in 2020. As you can see on the left of the slide, the Michigan average for filling out the census self-response rate is over 68%, which is 6% higher than the national average, meaning Michigan has done really well during the census so far this year. However, the Detroit average is 48, far lower than even the national average, and extremely low when considering the Michigan average. And so this is what makes the Southwest Detroit area a perfect example of where we want to roll out our strategy and test it and hopefully improve census results in Detroit and therefore improve funding into Detroit itself. Now, we are proposing to launch in Southwest Detroit because it is the epitome of a hard-to-reach community. So what that means is it has the low self-response rate, it has the low internet access, and it has the higher poverty rates that describe these types of communities that the Be Counted campaign has made a target goal to reach. And so if we roll out to this area, if we are successful, we can expand this idea, this strategy, into other hard-to-reach communities, which can help those areas and help those people gain more voting power in all of these different, across Michigan, hard-to-reach communities. And there's a lot to gain in each of these communities, as the funding is needed for these higher poverty rate areas. And with Michigan, that's really important to our team, and it's really important to the campaign as well. Next, Humaira is going to talk about the actual meat of the social media campaign and what our strategy involves. Thank you, Cindy, for closing us out. Here is a list of our sources if you want to look further into our research. And finally, do we have any questions, any feedback on how we can improve our strategy? Because we want the Be Counted campaign to be in on this. And we appreciate you listening to our ideas.